Okay, let's get started. This is the Repeatable DB creation demo. I will share my screen. So first, just a quick review of the blockers. On the get side of things, it's really just the networking options that are the biggest. That's the biggest blocker right now. We either probably need to spend some time looking into this ourselves or think of other approaches, because this is something that we're going to need to deploy into our own VPC instead of the default VPC. I don't think there's any complication here, so maybe we can get this done soon. On the omnibus side, there are a few blockers. One is the PG bouncer one, which we've worked around for now. The other two are related to setting custom service names in console, which is something we're going to need, but are actively being worked on. So I don't foresee any problems there. Number two, these are just like the big items that we have left. The first one is Prometheus Server, and still thinking about how we're going to do this now that we have the environment machines. We have a framework for deploying machines that will be for the environment and not the shard. We can maybe deploy a Kubernetes cluster and install Prometheus on it and use console discovery. I'm just hoping that all that will work well. So we'll give that a try. We need to add VPC networking, and we need to figure out logging. Those are the big three. Really, A and C are the big ones. B should be pretty easy. We had a discussion with the sharding team about how we can support them. I created a new epic that's linked to the main epic on what we're going to do. What I'm thinking right now is that we'll just have a separate environment for them to have as a sandbox with 2 Patroni clusters installed, and we'll deploy an omnibus VM into the project. And for demo, I just wanted to create database shards with ILBs. And I thought I would get started on this before the meeting because it takes a bit of time to provision. So if we take a look at, this is my environment, the alpha environment. Things look a little bit different now. We have the machines that are common to all shards, or that sit above the shards, and then we have the machines per shard. One thing I noticed is that we can't destroy environments right now because of the TCP/LB. This is due to us defaulting to prevent destroy on the load balancers in that Terraform module. So, and that can't be parameterized, unfortunately. Still, that issue is open. So I guess I'll just need to work around this for now. So I wasn't able to destroy the environment. I think then this should already be configured. Let me just check out the GCP console. So we have 4 internal load balancers after we configure everything. So we have Yep, this all looks good. So we have 4 internal load balancers, 2 database shards. Each shard has the sidekick group and the non-sidekick group for PG Bouncer, and that looks good. I don't think there's anything we're missing here. Cool. Is there anything else that someone here would like to show or talk about before we end the meeting?
Can we try connecting through the ILP just to make sure all things are connected properly?
Mm-hmm. So that would be a good thing to do. So just like just start a database session through the ILB.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll share my screen in a second. Let me. So how about we do this from one of the, we can't do it from the Bastion because the Bastion doesn't have Omnibus installed. Could do it either from the console, Postgres, or PG Bouncer. I'll just do it from the Postgres code. So I'll do it from like this guy. And I'll share my screen in a second. Just need to. Okay. So let's go to the registry PG Bouncer regional. Which is going to be that address.
BSQL.
Sorry?
You can just go for BSQL directly without needing to go through Omnibus.
Uh-huh. Okay, and we'll do something like this.
Correct.
And then capital P, I think, for port. Remember.
I think it has a small p, but capital U for user.
And then user, like we haven't done anything with these databases, or did, because I don't think like users automatically created by Omnibus.
Yeah, it creates Gitlab, but for some reason it doesn't set password for it. But yeah, you'll be prompted for a password, but you won't be able to go to get inside unless there has been a password set already.
Oops. And like GitLab production, maybe?
GitLab HQ production.
All right.
No, was that underscore?
Yeah. Okay. So we don't think we have a password set for GitLab, right?
I don't think so.
But maybe I can, like, I'm on the database. I'm not sure if this is the primary. Star from
BG underscore
recovery.
shadow.
BG.
Oh, you want to check if it's
Yeah,
ZMS or not?
yeah, recovery, right?
BG underscore is in recovery, all separated by
Aha, yeah.
underscores.
PG in
Is in recovery. PG is.
it's this, right? PG is yes, something like this.
And I think it's just select PG is in recovery, isn't it?
Or you can just show the list of processes on the node. It will be easier this way.
Come on.
Now the problem that you're having is that you have a missing semicolon on the previous line. So you're executing PG is in recovery. That's okay.
Isn't there like also, there's a GitLab CTL command for this, right? Like it's like GitLab CTL PG something. Patroni.
Yeah, Patroni members should show it as well.
Patroni members like this.
Yeah.
All right. And we are 56. All right, we're the leader. All right, that's great. So now, well, I can just do this. So maybe we can set up a password for GitLab.
Sure.
Does anyone know this off the top of their head, or should I Google
it? It's alter role, then the name of the I guess within double quotes.
This.
And followed by password, and the password itself in a double quotes.
Like that?
I guess so.
No.
And it then change the double quotes to single quotes. It's I always fall for this one.
It's single quotes.
Yeah, single quotes.
Both are.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, I think like everything is single quotes. Okay. No.
Yeah.
Set password for user Postgres.
Or maybe you don't need single quotes for GitLab, but for
for the username.
Okay. Come on. Yes, it worked. Super.
Yes.
Okay. That was a good demo. Does anyone have anything else before we end?
I know the GCP network stuff is high on the list, and it's high on our list as well. Currently it's set for 1.3, but we're working at a pace, and if we can carve at the time for 1.2, we can look at it. But if you guys are wanting to contribute, we're more than welcome, more than happy to help with that. As I've kind of called it in issues, we've got design kind of locked down with the AWS VPC setup we've done. So we'll be looking for essentially a copy paste job onto GCP with obviously the modifications required for GCP's little differences. So I'm happy to take contributions. If not, we will try to get to this as a priority. We're just finishing up some Project Power stuff. And then I know, obviously trying to balance between the different projects out there, I know this is like the top thing for you. So I think it's very high on the list. So I'll be looking to tackle it as soon as possible for myself as well, if there's no contributions.
Sure. And while you're here, Grant, as well as Alejandro, I just submitted an MR about the NAT. And the problem we have right now is that when we added the NAT support, we sort of assumed there would be one NAT per GCP project, but because we're deploying multiple reference architectures in a single GCP project, we really only want one NAT. So I submitted an MR to optionally disable creating the NAT, still disabling public IPs, but disable public IPs, but disable the NAT so we can create it outside of Get, because I don't think, I don't know, like is deploying multiple reference architectures within a single GCP project something that we want to really worry about? When we have multiple, in order to do that, really, you need to have networking support in VPC, because you really would probably have one reference architecture per VPC. So maybe we can think about that again when we tackle that.
Certainly in terms of best practice, what we say to people is you should be doing it per project. But we know in some cases, some people do want to deploy different architectures to the same project. And there's various considerations in there, say VPCs, most importantly, resource quotas, which each project has. But there's no strict requirement. So I did see the MRs open. I know you've tagged Alejandro to look at first. When you're ready for me to have a look, give me a shout, and from what I had a quick look, and everything looks fine to me. But yeah, we're happy to continue to support deploying multiple architectures to one project for people that need to do it. But in terms of best practice, I'd say you should be doing it per project.
Yeah, like this is really, it's not really that we're deploying multiple GitLabs per project, it's that we're deploying multiple Patroni clusters per project, right? So this is like, since Get doesn't explicitly support sharding yet, like having multiple Patroni clusters associated with one GitLab instance, what we end up doing is deploying the reference architecture multiple times. So I guess this is something to think about as we start like adding first order support for sharding to Omnibus and then later Get, how that's going to work.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sharding, that's a big old thing to tackle that we know is coming, and we will tackle it when it comes into Omnibus, because obviously the last I heard about that project was still very early. This is a while ago, this early days on actually deciding how to even do sharding in GitLab itself, because obviously that's a very complicated, heavy thing to get done. So yeah, but what you're describing is kind of the reason why we still support deploying on the same project in GCP. This is really only a GCP consideration, of course. In AWS and Azure and other cloud providers, this isn't even a thing. There is other forms of encapsulation, but generally most accounts on like AWS usually play in the same pool. So we're happy to support multiple projects, and once we get the network stuff in, that will further that, I suppose. So I guess that's where I come from the Get standpoint.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Yeah, we'll try and get in. If you guys want to tackle it earlier, you're more than welcome. But if not, we will try and get in ASAP for you. We hear you loud and clear. We know it's top priority. We're just trying to get through it all.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Grant.
No
Thanks,
problem.
everyone.
Thanks all. Cheers.
So, bye.